What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from IRL International Racing League, and this is going to be preseason test 2 at Catalunya, Circuit de Barcelona, España. And I'm waiting on a couple more drivers to show up. So far, we got 12 of the 20 drivers ready to show up. I'll run down the driver list with here for you real quick. Nexus Clone, as I still try to learn some of these guys. And Nexus Clone, I don't have him on my list. So Nexus Clone, Nexus Suarez is Paco Suarez, Luxmark is Joe Hollis, Adrian Storm, Harry Cooper, James Hallworth, Alexander Bastos, Nexus Aspect, which is Kevin Harrison, Jamie 2905, I am not 100% sure who that is. Chipsman Crunchy, don't know who that is either. JME Morris 02. Once again, I do not have a name on that fellow. So if anybody watching knows who these people are, feel free to give me some information. Apparently Nexus Clone is Jared Fosbury. Why you people have to have more than one name for something is beyond me. So Nexus Clone is Jared Fosbury, also known as Neon Rapid. And we will make a note of that right now as we delay this just by a couple minutes, waiting for a couple other drivers to show up. So again, a couple of new faces this year in F2. One of them being Alexander Bastos. He wasn't with us last week when we did the preseason test at Spa. But Alexander Bastos was in IRL F1 last year. I'm pretty confident he holds the record for the most 7th place finishes in a season. It seemed to be his preferred finishing spot. So actually had a halfway decent season last year. Was a good mid-pack driver. Had a couple of good runs. Joe Hollis obviously was F2 last year as well. Very strong in the running. Paco Suarez finished 2nd in the championship. And Jamie 2905 is Jamie Griffiths. So we'll make a note of that as well. Going to do a short qualifying and then a 50% race, which is going to be the standard this year in F2. We'll do that at all the races. Short qualifying 18-minute session followed by a 50% race for each and every round. So Jamie 2905, Jamie Griffiths. Compliments of Jared Fosbury giving me some information on the live chat. We've also got Brandon Glover joining us. One of the admins for IRL and F1 driver. And JME. That is going to be Jamie Morris. So be prepared for me to get Jamie Griffiths and Jamie Morris confused all day. JME Morris. Jamie Morris is going to be, looks like, in the Ferrari, while Jamie Griffiths is going to be in the McLaren. Now, some of these guys are reserve drivers. These are not permanent seats in F2. But some of the reserve drivers joining us for today. Oh, look, and we've got audio problems again. Thank you, Codemasters. It's always a pleasure to have absolutely no engine noise whatsoever. Ran into this problem last week, so prepare for 18 minutes of listening to me ramble on about drivers. Hopefully we'll have some engine noise come race time, and looks like the first guy out on track is going to be Nexus Aspect, Kevin Harrison. And Jared Fosbury is telling me to press pause and unpause, which has done nothing. Let's go to the race director, though. And here we can see what guys are going to be starting on what tires here for this 18-minute qualifying session. No reason for me to mute a player since I'm in a party and I can't hear anything anyways. I'm also being told by JSG 247 to leave and rejoin the session, which I don't think the admins would appreciate. That is up to Jared if he would like me to do that. Otherwise, we can ramble on for the next few minutes as we watch some of these guys get on their at-laps here at Catalunya. And Kevin Harrison's going to be the first one to start a hot lap in the Sauber. And one guy telling me to check audio levels. That doesn't make any sense if I have audio during the race and not qualifying. Well, let's see what happens. So let's get back in, see if anything changes on the audio front. There we go. That worked. As Kevin Harrison is the first one to set a hot lap at 1:18.935. And pick up Paco Suarez. Looks like he's getting ready to come across the line. Coming off of the last corner out of the last chicane. 1:19.627, the second one to set a lap. Adrian Storm heading up towards turn 3 at the top of the hill. He's in the other Mercedes, number 19 this year. And we got a yellow flag in Sector 2, which is where Adrian Storm is currently getting ready to enter. And Luxembourg, Joe Hollis sets a time of 1:28.524. Clearly not a hot lap. Obviously picked up the pace a little bit over his installation lap. Ooh, big wiggle coming out of there. Sectors 2 and 3 now have yellow flags. Jamie Griffith sets a third fastest time, 1:23.36. Jamie Morse, 1:27.698. We ride along here in a 5-place grid penalty because Jamie Morse has just had a collision with Jamie Griffith. That must be what all the... Oh, and here we go. Morse still trying to turn his car around, so it looks like... Looks like he's had an unfortunate series of events. So Morse picks up a 5-spot grid penalty. That'll probably put him towards, well, it's obviously going to put him towards the back of the field with only 11 cars starting today. So only 3 drivers have yet to set a time. Adrian Storm, who's currently in the pits. Chipsman Crunchy, which we're not 100% sure who that is. And Nexus Clone, which was Jared Fosbury, currently out in the McLaren. And we got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Fosbury goes off track there. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe trying to put some heat in the tires, but James Hallworth comes across the line, 1:32.635. So looking at the times, Morris, Hollis, Hallworth, all running in the high 120s and low 130s. Clearly not going to be their fastest times. We'll pick up Morris, and Morris is off the track again. So Jamie Morris is making his F2 debut, to the best of my knowledge, here in the testing session, and so far he has had nothing but bad luck. So he comes across the line. He'll start another fast lap. We have caution Sector 2 and 3 again, so this has been a caution-laden qualifying session so far. 11 minutes left to play in the session. We'll watch Jamie Morris here for a minute and see if we can figure out what's going on with him as he struggles with the car, it looks like. And he is 4 off, very wide, and around goes Morris and into the wall. So his struggles continue. And from what we can tell, he will be starting at the back of the grid. Currently 127.698 is his only timed lap so far. And with a 5-spot grid penalty for his collision with Jamie Griffiths, that's going to set him back to 11th. So Morris is not off to a flying start, unfortunately. So back at the top 3 drivers have all cracked into the 119s. Actually, the top 4 drivers have all cracked into the 119s, with the exception of Nexus Aspect. Kevin Harrison, the only one to break into 118s. So Harrison's still sitting on top. Alexander Bastos, the second fastest time. Good effort by him, 119.229, followed by Harry Cooper and Paco Suarez. And it looks like that is Morris's teammate, Chipsman Crunchy, going into the pits. Morris, one of the only drivers out on track right now, and he is very slow coming out of the last chicane. It would appear JSG on the live chat may be Jamie Morris. And Jamie Morris is going to try for another hot lap. Much better through that section this time. Climbs the top of the hill. Another sweeping right-hander. So far he's managed to keep all 4 on track. Downhill left-hander. Now you've got this very tricky left-right complex and then up the run the hill. Nearly flat out, turn 5. He's very wide and off course and into the wall once more. So Jamie Morris's struggles continue. 9:30 left to play in the session. We'll pick up Adrian Storm coming across the line now. 119.030, second fastest time. Nearly breaks into the 118s. Kevin Harrison's the only one to drive into the 118 so far, and he is going to start his hot lap. We'll ride along with him. Riding along with Kevin Harrison. Very smooth through the first sector. This tricky section here left, right, up the hill. See how he takes this corner. One little downshift. Looks like he was foot to the floor with it. Downshifted into 5th and a quick upshift to 6th. Really hard left-hander there at the hairpin. And then another tricky left-right. A lot of guys lose the back end through that section heading into the right-hander. Car wants to come around on him. Oh, and he's off the grass. He broke his line. Not giving up on the lap, but that cost him right there. And he's going to dive into the pits, and he's into the wall. So Harris aborted that lap at the last second. We'll pick up Alexander Bastos, currently 3rd quickest in the Renault. Great qualifying effort by him. Real consistent points finisher last year. Like I said, he finished 7th a number of times last year, but had a couple of good runs. I think his best finish last year in F1 was a 4th place finish. So good to see him returning for another season in IRL. Bastos to the top of the hill. Looks like he was off the pace a little bit there. Coming down through the chicane. He's definitely off the pace as he heads into the pits. Pick up Joe Hollis coming across the line. 119.340. Currently 4th quickest. So Kevin Harrison still the only driver in the 118. 2nd through 8th now is all in the 119s, which would make for some very close racing. We'll pick up Griffiths in the McLaren. We've got a caution in Sector 1 and 2. And look at this! And I guess Griffiths wasn't going to make that corner and aborts his lap. And we'll pick up James Hallworth. Looks like he's on an out lap. We've got one of the Toro Rossos there. Toro Rossos. Might have been Harry Cooper. No, that was Joe Hollis getting out of the way. See the Ferrari there getting out of the way. Looks like that would be Chipsman Crunchy on his out lap. Yellow flags flying. So last week we did the preseason test at Spa. That is the IRL preferred testing track, as Nexus clone, that's Jared Fosbury, retires from the session. And yet we pick up another driver that heads into the pits. So pick up Joe Hollis, who's very slow going around the track right now. We're going to pick up Chipsman Crunchy because I know he was getting ready to start a hot lap. And Chipsman Crunchy is on the gas. DRS slot open. Less than 5 minutes left to play in the session. He's currently 10th fastest at a 1:25.31. Oh, and he loses the back end. Chipsman Crunchy into the wall. Lucky for him, there is no damage during preseason testing. However, that would have cost him possibly some wing damage. So we'll pick up Adrian Storm. 1:19.030 has been his best time. See if he's got anything for Kevin Harrison in the Sauber. Adrian Storm made the jump last year. Started in F2 last year, made the jump to F1, was a really solid driver. Is back in F2 this year. Had a lot of good mid-pack finishes. He was the first F2 driver last year to make the jump to F1. And he was also the most consistent. We had a couple of other guys make some debuts in F1. Weren't able to come back. And look at this, Adrian Storm, 1:18.414 to the top of the charts. He's a half a second quicker over Kevin Harrison. So is Harrison going to come back out with less than 3:30 left to play in the session? Does Harrison have anything for Adrian Storm's hot lap? And we're going to pick up Alexander Bastos. He's at the top of the hill, heading onto the back straightaway. Currently third quickest at a 1:19.1. Not sure why Fosbury retired from the session. It would not be from a damage aspect. Bastos comes across the line. 1:18.997. So the top three drivers are now broken into the 1:18s. Joe Hollis calls it a day. He'll retire from the session with a 1:19.340. Good enough for fourth quickest so far. Still a couple minutes left to play in the session. We're going to pick up Kevin Harrison because Harrison is on his out lap. He's half a second shy of Adrian Storm's 1:18.4. Harrison was sitting on the provisional pole position for most of this session. He was the first one to set a lap time at a 1:18.9 and basically sat there until just now. He comes out on an out lap. And Harrison's going to come across the line with just enough time to take one more last dash at this. Adrian Storm retires from the session, 1:18.4. He's on provisional pole. I guess he feels like that is good enough. Riding along with Harrison on his out lap, getting ready to take one more last-ditch effort to try and break Adrian's track record here with a 1:18.414. Down the last corner, comes across the line. He's going to start his outlap 1:18 on the clock. If he doesn't get pole position, he may come across the line with just enough time to start one more hot lap if he needs to. Washington Sector 3 as we ride along with Kevin Harrison. Turn 3, the very long sweeping right-hander to the top of the hill. The left side tires take a pounding around this course. Another sweeping right-hander. In Sector 2, the quick left-right exchange here. The top of the hill, Bastos calls it a day. He's currently 4th quickest. Harrison got the DRS slot open. He's catching up to one of the Ferraris. Not sure if that's Chipsman or Morris. Ooh, very wide there, and again, Harrison not able to put together that corner. It's going to be close. Here he comes across the line. Not going to get it. 1:18.510. Just a 1/10 of a second off of Adrian Storm's time. We'll pick up James Hallworth, and it looks like he's well off the pace in Sector 3, so it looks like he's going to call it a day. We'll pick up Harry Cooper, getting ready to come across the line. Down through the last sweeping right-hander. Cooper's going to come across the line. 1:18.629, good enough to move him into 4th. So the only thing that's left is the 2 Ferraris and Chipsman Crunchy, who is running a 1:25.31 as his best time. He has struggled a little bit with pace and grip. And it looks like those struggles are going to continue. And Jamie Morris picks up another 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Kevin Harrison, which is inconsequential because he had the slowest time to begin with. So the 2 Ferraris sitting in the back, 10th and 11th respectively, last 2 drivers on the grid. So rough outing for Ferrari. So here's your starting order for the preseason exhibition race. Adrian Storm, Kevin Harrison, James Hallworth, Harry Cooper, Jamie Griffiths, followed by Alexander Bastos, Joe Hollis, Paco Suarez, Jared Fosbury, Chipsman Crunchy, and Jamie Morris rounding out your 11 drivers. And you can see the difference there in the tire selection, the softs, the mediums, and the hards. So tire strategy could be very interesting to watch through this 50% race, especially for Jamie Morris, who's obviously going to have the grid penalties. He's starting last. He was well off the pace, but he could make a very long run in the first stint on those hard tires if he can try and set some competitive lap time. So it may work to his advantage, but from what I've seen so far from Morris, it's not looking too well for him. So we had a real interesting Spa preseason test last week. Haas, who is not here today, had a great showing with Sneaky Pete and Naz, which was Jorge Correa, and who was Naz, and then Sneaky Pete. I can't remember. That was Andreas, I believe. Andre Pastana. Pastana, I believe, went on to win the race. Haas, Correa had one of his best runs in recent memory for in an F1 car where he finished 3rd, but was dropped to 4th because of penalty times. But it was a good showing by Haas. They're not here today. They looked really strong at the preseason test. Ferrari right now, not looking too strong at all. So we're off on the formation lap. Adrian Storm, your pole sitter, beat out Kevin Harrison just by a 1/10 of a second. A great run by Harrison. James Hallworth, who was in the Ferrari last year, is in the Red Bull this year. Great starting position for him for 3rd. Harry Cooper had a great race at Spa going for him. He ran into some troubles late in the going and dropped through the field, but he did show some very competitive pace, so be looking for him to fight towards the front. Alexander Bastos in 5th. See if he can best his best finish from last year, which was a 4th place finish. Joe Hollis running in 6th. He's known to be very quick as well. Paco Suarez is going to be starting in 7th. Nexus Clone, which is Jared Fosbury, called it quits early in the session for qualifying. He'll be starting in 8th. Chipsman Crunchy, good enough for 9th. Jamie Griffiths is starting in 10th. Morris, who's got the grid penalty, was dropped to 11th. And then Ivan Brito, looks like he joined late in the qualifying session, wasn't able to put down any time, so he'll be starting dead last in the field. And he'll have to work his way through 2 struggling Ferraris and a newcomer, Jamie Griffiths, in the McLaren. So a lot of these drivers don't know how they match up against most of these guys. Only a handful of them are returning drivers from last year. Some of these guys, like Jamie Morris, Jamie Griffiths, they're new to the IRL League, so a little bit of unknowns. But from what we've seen so far, seem to be struggling a little bit. So here we go. 33-lap preseason exhibition race. Had one last week at Spa. We're going to do one here, and then next week is going to be opening day weekend for IRL F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. We'll talk about more about that in a little bit as we get ready for the start here. Five red lights, lights out, time to run with LeBrun. They're away in a puff of smoke. Looks like a good start by Kevin Harrison. Oh, and down the front stretch, there's a lot of jockeying going on between the 2 McLarens. Oh, and up the inside, look at this, that's not looking good back there. The McLarens look like they might have made a little bit of contact with each other. And the 2 Ferraris are going to split them, and it looks like there's a glitch there. As one of the McLarens runs very wide, we're sticking with him, that is Jared Fosbury, went off track. Ivan Brito's worked his way up into 10th. And one of the Ferraris now, this is Jamie Morris, is now on the inside of the other McLaren of Jamie Griffiths. They had contact during qualifying. Chipsman Country has moved his way into 7th, but he's going to get passed around the outside by his teammate. Oh, and he gets pushed very wide, and there's contact, and he's into the gravel and back onto the track. Very scary moment there. Jamie Morris, though, he moves up into the 7th spot on the opening lap. Meanwhile, back at the front, we've got more jockeying in the back. It looks like Ivan Brito's run into an issue, and he's off into the gravel. Looks like he may have had some help on that one. Kevin Harrison, though, on the tail end of Adrian Storm, the battle for the lead. So Adrian Storm able to pull out a little bit. So a manic opening lap, lots of contact, Ferraris and the McLarens. Interestingly enough, one of the McLarens and one of the Ferraris has moved up, and one of the McLarens and one of the Ferraris has stayed in the back. Nexus Cats on the live chat. That's Andreas Saz wants to know why X-Fate, which is Ivan Brito, is in his car. Well, you weren't here, mate. You weren't here to pick your car. So Ivan Brito, not sure if he's going to be a reserve driver, if he's one of the starting drivers for this year. Don't have him actually on my list so far. Just happen to know who he is. Continue to watch Kevin Harrison. He's losing a little bit of ground here to Adrian Storm in this opening stint. And Harry Cooper's been able to close that gap up. So the top 3 cars are all running within 1.5 seconds of each other. And then there's a gap back to James Hallworth, who has got Paco Suarez, and look at this, Jamie Morris on the inside of Suarez, going to try and make a move down into turn 1. Lap 3, the DRS will be enabled heading into this lap. Morris is going to be on the grass, and look at that, oh, over the curbs, and Morris now going to try and go around the outside of Suarez. Suarez had to cut the corner. Morris makes the move on him. So Morris showing some good pace, unlike the struggles that he had during qualifying. Meanwhile, Cooper started to close that gap to Harrison. And Cooper is closer to Harrison than Harrison is to Storm. You know, the F2 race here last year was actually surprisingly real competitive. Spain is not known in the real world to be a very easy track to make passes on. Usually makes for quite a lackluster race, but last year here in F2, Spain was quite an incredible race. Marcel Haller picked up his first pole position of the year last year for the race, but it was Paco Suarez who actually went on to pick up his first win. Suarez currently running in 6th position as we continue to watch. Oh, there's a pass here. Jamie Morse now on Hallworth goes around him with the DRS advantage down the front stretch. So Morse has now moved into the 4th position. And another guy I'm surprised that's struggling as bad as he is. He also did have some contact on the opening lap, but Jared Fosbury, we're currently running in 10th. Qualified 9th, but he had a good run here last year. Fosbury actually came home 2nd last year in the league race for F2. It was his 4th podium position of the year. And actually, Fosbury that was actually his 4th straight podium of the year, because it was round 4 of Spain last year that we had this race. Cooper still trying to find a way around Harrison. And Zaz still wondering about Ivan Brito. I can tell you this, Zaz, that Brito joined in the middle of the qualifying session. So the game may have not given him the choice to choose his car. They may have automatically put him in one of the Red Bulls. So I don't think there's too much to worry about there, mate. I don't think he's going to be stealing your seat. As we continue to watch Harry Cooper. Now Kevin Harrison is all over the backside of Adrian Storm as they head up the hill, turn 3. So the top 3 have been starting to pull away. These 3 cars, they're 2 seconds ahead of Jamie Morris. Oh, and look at this. Storm cuts that chicane. Looks like Cooper cut that corner as well. So they'll probably both get a warning for that. Now Harrison and Cooper are both going to have the DRS advantage down the short back straightaway. Ooh, and a big wiggle there out of the Saubers. Harrison tries to get the power down. Cooper's actually on the medium tire, so he's going to be having a little bit more longevity out of those tires. Working lap 5 of 33. Those softs may be starting to wear out. And Harris is going to pick up the lead as Adrian Storm heads into the pits. So that's going to move Morris into the 3rd spot, who started 11th. Morris showed terrible lap times and grip and was just struggling through qualifying. So this is like a completely different driver here. Starting from 11th, moving into 3rd on the medium tire. So Cooper and Morris are really in the catbird seat right now, as they're both on the medium tires, so they're going to be able to run a longer first stint. Harrison obviously started to struggle with some grip issues. We saw the back end kick out on the Sauber last time by. At the top of the hill here, he's going to make his run. And it was down here at the end of the backstretch in this hard left-hander that he lost grip last time by. See if he has any snap oversteer again. No, he's able to keep it under control this time. And meanwhile, James Hallworth is now all over the back end of Paco Suarez. There's a 4.5 second gap, almost 5 seconds between the top three and then this battle for fourth, which is turning into a three-car battle with Paco Suarez, James Hallworth, and Alexander Bastos. But the Red Bull is going to dive into the pits, and now look at this, Morris looking to make a move at the end of the front straightaway, down into turn one. Stays in line as they run nose to tail. Now, Cooper may be biding his time because he knows Harrison's on those soft tires. He's going to have to pit soon. But he gets a good run coming up the top of turn three, and he's going to make a move to the inside. Sweeping right-hander turn four. And he's going to be able to get by him. So that is going to power move for Harry Cooper to take the lead. And now that's actually going to cost Jamie Morris some time. Morris is going to dive to the inside. And now you can really tell the Sauber of Kevin Harrison is starting to struggle with grip. He lost 2 positions in a matter of a couple corners. So Morris now moving into the second spot. So the medium tire strategies really worked out for Harry Cooper and Jamie Morris as they both worked their ways into the first and second spot. Great opening stint by Morris, who started 11th on the grid. His teammate, Chipsman Crunchy, is all the way back in 12th, 9 seconds behind Jamie Griffiths in the McLaren. So the pit windows have started to open up on some of these. And look at this, Cooper looks like he's going all the way to the inside, trying to take away some of that draft and drive a more defensive line. Now these two are 5 seconds ahead of Paco Suarez. Suarez now running out on the hard tires. He hasn't made a pit stop yet. He started on the hard tires, running all by his lonesome right now. A little bit of a wide line there for Cooper as he came out of that corner. Oh, and it looks like Morris took that very wide. He's almost 4 off. And look at this. Cooper drops the left side tires into the grass. Morris still has that DRS advantage, though. Working lap 8 of 33. Now the guys on the soft tires have already made their pit stops. No takers this time by Cooper or Morris as they're running the medium compound. It looks like Morris lost a little bit of ground out of that last section there. And a caution in sector 2. I'm not sure who that would be. But Morris able to close that gap back up with the DRS advantage down the front stretch. Looks like he might be getting a little bit of aero wash on the front of his wing, though, trying to get to the back end of Cooper's Toro Rosso. And Cooper runs a very wide line coming out of that corner. Oh, and look at this, down to the inside. Morris thought about making a move, almost made contact with him. Caught up to him big time under braking. He's not going to be close enough to make a move, and you see Paco Suarez looks like he's starting to come into the background there. The 5 seconds kind of been fluctuating between 4.8 and 5.2. And Suarez won this race last year during the actual points-paying season. Down to the inside, Morris looking to make a move. Gets to the inside. And he's able to make it stick, but here comes Cooper back around and going to try and crossover move. Not going to be able to make it work there. And a caution in sector 2 again. Oh, and he runs very wide coming out of turn 3 and then back. Takes the lead. Morris looks like he got out of the way. I don't know if he struggled with something there at the top of turn 3. Looks like he gave the position back up. I don't know if he thought he made a aggressive move, possibly. Everything looked legit there. Not sure what that was. It looks like he's getting back to the gearbox of Cooper's Toro Rosso again. See if he's going to make a move again coming down this backstretch. So as those two were battling it out, Suarez was able to chop a half a second off of their gap there. So now 4.5 second gap back to Paco Suarez. Still no takers on the pits. Morris again will be looking to make a move. Look how much he catches up under the DRS. This time he's going to try and go around the outside. And this time he'll easily be able to get by and make that stick. And then the long sweeping right-hander of turn 3 up the hill. And now he's able to start separating a gap. And now we've got a battle for 4th here. And that is Nexus Clone. As Jared Fosbury going for 4th around Joe Hollis. Really, this is the closest battle on track right this second. We were watching the battle for the lead. Morris is taking... Oh, look at this little bit of contact there. Maybe a little bit of an internet glitch. And it looks like we've got some ghosting going on, which is unusual. Not sure if that's part of the preseason test package. Usually we don't have ghosting on at all for any of the cars, including the lapped cars. So these two battling it out, and it looks like Harry Cooper might have just had a moment. Cooper was half a second within striking distance of Jamie Morris, and now he's 2.5 seconds off, and he lost a huge chunk of time to Paco Suarez. Suarez is now only 2.3 seconds behind Cooper for the battle for 2nd, which is starting to heat up. Joe Hollis still trying to get around Jared Fosbury for 4th. Then you've got a little bit of separation. The next closest battle on track is going to be battle for 9th. This is Jamie Griffiths and James Hallworth in the McLaren and the Red Bull. Griffith's going to have the advantage down the front stretch, looking to make a move to the inside of turn 1. And he's going to get around Hallworth. Hallworth on the hard tire. Looks like Hallworth has already made his stop and switched over to the hard tire. Going to run that to the end. Meanwhile, Griffiths made his stop and switched over to the medium tire, so he'd be making one more stop. So getting a little bit of separation with a caution in Sector 2 again. And this is where the drivers are at right now. Look out the back of the Red Bull for no apparent reason. And look at they caught up to the other Red Bull. That is Ivan Brito. He was possibly what the caution was about. And now Brito's in the way of these two drivers here. And now they're side by side, the Red Bull and the McLaren. That was Griffiths and Hallworth. I want a 3-second time penalty for Hallworth for looks like cutting a corner, and got a caution in Sector 2 again. Kevin Harrison gets around Adrian Storm. Now these guys have already pitted, I believe, so this is potential battle for the lead as the other lead cars haven't pitted yet. And now we've got another battle for the lead. It looks like Harry Cooper's managed to get back around Jamie Morris. And while those two have been battling it out, Suarez is now closing the gap. It's now under 2 seconds back to Jamie Morris. So lots to try and keep up here. Meanwhile, Adrian Storm and Kevin Harrison are having their own battle for 6th, which could turn into a battle for the lead. And now the Red Bull and the McLaren are still battling it out. This is Griffiths trying to get around Ivan Brito. He does. Now Brito, can he get out of the way of the on-charging James Hallworth and the other Red Bull? He makes a move to the inside. And now look at this. Brito tries to make the corner. Looks like he blows the corner, so 2 cars are going to get by him. So Brito loses 2 positions in a matter of 1 corner, and now we've got some pit stops going on at the front. Oh no, look at this. Jamie Morris blows the first corner. Harry Cooper goes around the outside. And now Suarez is starting to close the gap. Ivan Brito picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Jared Fosbury dives into the pits. And now these two, this is Harrison and Storm still going back and forth as we try to keep up with all the action going on track. Moore's trying to get back to the backside of the gearbox of Harry Cooper's Toro Rosso. And now DRS advantage for Jamie Morris as they continue to battle for their lead in this exhibition race. Meanwhile, Suarez is able to close that gap a little bit. 1.5 seconds off. He's just outside of DRS range. Any takers on pit stops? And it looks like Harry Cooper's finally going to dive in. Got a caution in Sector 2. We got some action going on here in the back. This is Alexander Bastos trying to get around his fellow racer, Jared Fosbury. Cooper is going to come out of the pits. Looks like he's going to drop a couple more positions. And here we go, battle for the 4th spot. Adrian Storm, Kevin Harrison. Oh, and Harrison makes contact with Storm, and around goes Harrison. And that is going to be advantage Harry Cooper. They try to pick that up. Meanwhile, James Hallworth, here he comes. He's got Jamie Griffiths all over the backside of him. So working lap 15 of 33, the pit sequence broke things up for a little bit, and now all the action is back. Lots of battles going on track. It's between a couple of different drivers here and there. It's like every couple of positions is another battle. So Jamie Moore is one of the few drivers. The top 3 have yet to make a pit stop. That's Jamie Morris, Paco Suarez, and Joe Hollis. Morris is on the on the medium tire, I should say. While Owen Morris heads into the pits now, so that's going to hand the lead over to Paco Suarez. Yellow flag, Sector 3. We ride on board here with Griffiths trying to find his way around James Hallworth in the Red Bull. Oh, and they all run wide coming out of there. That was Hallworth and Griffiths both ran wide coming out of that last corner. Griffiths got the DRS advantage. Looks like Harry Cooper just managed to get around Morris. And here we go, side-by-side action, and they make contact, and around goes the Red Bull. That is Hallworth who made contact with Griffiths. And that's the second time we've seen contact in that corner in the last 2 laps. So now the McLarens are running 7th and 8th. This is Jared Fosbury in pursuit of his teammate, Jamie Griffiths. So things seem to have settled out for just a second. So to try and reset the grid a little bit, Paco Suarez is currently your leader as he stays out again. Joe Hollis, 7 seconds behind Suarez, and he's not looking to make a pit stop this time by. Adrian Storm has moved into 3rd. Adrian Storm, who he had the contact a couple laps ago with Jamie Morris, who has now dropped back into the 5th position, trying to get to the backside of Harry Cooper and take back that 4th spot. Then you have Kevin Harrison. He was the one that had gone spun. We've got a caution in Sector 2 again. Then you've got a 3-car battle starting to heat up here. This is Jamie Griffiths going around his teammate Jared Fosbury and Alexander Bastos in hot pursuit. Yellow flag, Sector 3. Lots of on and offs, it seems like. Hear a groan from the crowd. Not sure what that was in reference to. Morris, though, starting to creep up. He's almost to the back gearbox of Harry Cooper's Toro Rosso. And I don't want to look out the back of the car because there's nothing going on back there. We pick up the onboard camera. Morris to the backside. Trying to get that power down through this tricky left-right section here. The last little set of corners here. These real quick chicane here. The sausage curbs, which I am not a fan of. And Cooper gets a good run coming out of that last corner, separates himself a little bit. But the DRS advantage is going to go to Morris. Can Morris make a move down to turn one? That's been his favorite spot to make passes today. And he's going to get there, easily gets around him, and picks up the 4th spot. Oh, but he blows the first corner, and over the sausage curbs he goes, and around the outside, Cooper's going to retake the position. Morris drops back to 5th. So Morris struggled to make that move stick at the end of the front straightaway, going into turn 1. And turn 1 has been his favorite corner to make moves today, so he'll probably wait until we're all the way back around and try to get on the next lap. We're now halfway through this race, and Paco Suarez and Joe Hollis have still yet to pit. Now, if they pitted now, Adrian Storm would easily retake the lead, and it looks as if Joe Hollis is moving into the pits now. So Storm is going to move into the 2nd spot. That only leaves Paco Suarez as the only driver to not make a pit stop so far. And it looks like Morris had some problems there at the end of that lap. Lost a lot of ground. And this is Chipsman Crunchy they are going around. And Chipsman Crunchy has been inconsequential to anybody today. 30 seconds off of Ivan Brito, running in the 12th spot. So this is still your closest battle on track between Harry Cooper and Jamie Morris. Harrison is running in 5th, 3 seconds behind these two. And this is ultimately going to be the battle for 2nd spot, because once Paco Suarez pits, these guys would move up. Suarez would probably come out in the 4th or 5th spot. And again, we're looking at the backside of the Ferrari for no good reason. Pick up the onboard cam. A little bit of a glitch there. Not sure if that's their internet or mine. I'm getting a little bit of lag here and there. Oh, he's all over the gearbox. Did he get a good run out of here? He's definitely going to be able to make a run down towards turn 1. And Morris just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 1:21.395. Easily gets around the outside of Harry Cooper's Toro Rosso. And Suarez does make his pit stop, so that hands the lead over as these two continue to battle out. That hands the lead over to Adrian Storm out in front here at Spain as these two continue to battle for 2nd spot. Suarez comes out in 4th, and he's not that far off the base. He's not that far off the battle for 2nd here. Morris and Cooper still side by side out of that corner. Cooper's been taking a very wide line coming out of that corner all day. Cost him a little bit of time there. And now Suarez is going to be on a fresh set of mediums that he's going to run to the end of this race with 13 laps remaining. So Suarez should definitely be able to get by these two. Now, depending on how much they hold him up, could Suarez make a run for the win at Adrian Storm and a caution in Sector 2 again? So we've seen a number of yellow flags today. I'm assuming a lot of on-offs. Nonetheless, a couple of these drivers seem to be struggling a lot for grip. Cooper going to try and make a move on Morris. Looks like he's going to be in the catbird seat as they head down the front stretch. And again, Adrian Storm pits. That's very interesting. Apparently Storm had not pitted. I was off. As we watch this battle side by side, Cooper to turn one, makes the move on the inside. Oh, look at this. Morris goes back to the inside, tries crossover move in turn three. They're side by side heading to the top of the hill. Morris is going to have the more preferred line. Cooper trying to hang tough on the outside. Now, this is where he's run a very wide line coming out of that corner all day. He's able to make the position stick for now. And now look at this, a three-car battle for basically what is the lead at this point. I was wrong in my remarks earlier about Storm not pitting. I thought he had made a pit stop earlier in the race, and apparently I was wrong. No, Storm, that was Storm's second stop. So Adrian Storm pits from the lead, drops all the way to 8th with just 12 laps remaining. I'm not 100% sure what the strategy there was, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to try and work his way back through the field. Got a three-car battle now. This is Harry Cooper, Jamie Morris, and Paco Suarez. This is the battle for the lead. 2 seconds back from this is Kevin Harrison, who was running strong and up front earlier in the race before he had contact with Harry Cooper. I believe it was at turn 1. And now Morris to the outside. He's going to be able to get around Harry Cooper. Cooper's got no DRS advantage as he was the lead car in that. And Morris able to make it work, and he hang on to it now. And a 3-second time penalty for Joe Hollis. Oh, now we've got a move here. This is Suarez going to the inside. Oh, no, and Cooper's into the grass. Cooper's into the grass, drops the right sides. So that moves Suarez into the second spot, and now he'll be in hot pursuit of Jamie Morris. And I am not sure I quite understand Adrian Storm's strategy. Maybe he pitted earlier on the wrong tires, came out on the wrong tires. I thought for sure he'd be making that run to the end of the race. And now Morris is able to start pulling gap. He's almost a second gap over Paco Suarez. Interestingly enough, they both have pink helmets. Not sure if that's on purpose or just a little coinky-dink. A little bit of separation now, so the battle for the lead. Morris is now almost a second over Paco Suarez. Suarez is going to have a little bit of a DRS advantage. He's not going to be close enough to make a move. And then if you go almost 2 seconds back, you'll find Harry Cooper. Yellow flag, sector 1. That's probably for the Red Bull. That looks like that was probably Ivan Brito coming out of the pits. Now 3 seconds back from that battle, you're going to find Kevin Harrison running all by himself. And it looks like we just had a move. That was Jared Fosbury going around Joe Hollis. So this is your closest battle on track. Looks like we're getting some lag again. Again, not sure if that's my internet or theirs. Yellow flag sector 2, which is where the cars are now. That's Ivan Brito getting out of the way. Ivan Brito or James Hallworth, one of the two. They're both running 10th and 11th respectively. Chipsman Crunchy is your last car on track, running in 12th. So we've got a battle heating up here, but the battle at the front now. Suarez has closed that gap. So Jamie Morris, yellow flags flying sectors 2 and 3 now. Nine laps to go this time by. Suarez is running in second. He's going to have the DRS advantage. Good run down the front stretch. He's going to go around the outside. They make a little bit of contact. Oh, he jumps the curves, cuts the corner a little bit. And Jared Fosbury, meanwhile, is making the move on Joe Hollis to pick up that 5th spot as these two continue to battle it out side by side. Morris hanging tough. The battle of the hards and the mediums. Now, Morris has been out a lot longer on those hard tires than Suarez has been out on the medium. Suarez pitted not that long ago. So he's definitely got the softer compound and should be well within the tire life to get around Morris. But Morris has been driving very defensively. An incredible drive from him after struggling in qualifying and starting in 11th. And again, yellow flags flying sectors 1 and 2 this time. Adrian Storm, update on him, he's currently running in 8th. He's about a half second behind Alexander Bastos, who coincidentally is running in 7th spot. Joe Hollis and Jared Fosbury continue their battle. And Kevin Harrison's going to dive into the pits. So that is going to move up a couple of these guys. Pick up Adrian Storm. And Storm is about to make a move on Alexander Bastos. Now this was the battle for 6th now, since Harrison pitted, and Alexander Bastos picks up 6th spot and then immediately drops back to 7th. I love the fact that this guy always finishes in 7th place. Meanwhile, the battle at the front continues. Half a second gap now between Jamie Morris and Paco Suarez. Oh no, and Jamie Griffith is done. Looks like he's running to an issue. Yellow flag, sector 3. He was currently running in 9th. So it looks like he has crashed out. Morris now trying to hold off a hard charging Paco Suarez. Has done an incredible job driving defensively, keeping him at bay. DRS slot open. Suarez getting dangerously close, looking to make a move down into turn 1. Oh no, sectors 1 and 3 now, yellow flags. Now the drivers were just in sector 1 and 2. Got a lot of action going on around the track, but I don't want to leave the battle for the lead here, as these two have been exchanging blows, battling it out. And Alexander Bastos dives into the pits. That's going to move Kevin Harrison up into the 8th spot. Adrian Storm currently running in 7th. Ivan Brito moves into the 10th spot, dives into the pits. Hollis now getting around, or getting through, I should say, as the ghosting seems to be on. And they're running inside of each other, and I don't know if that's lag or if that's really what's going on, but Jared Fosbury loses the back end of the car, and around the outside goes Hollis, and you can see I'm going to say that's their internet, because I am not having that problem if I watch Paco Suarez and Jamie Morris as they continue their battle for the lead. It's only when I pick up Fosbury or Hollis that I run into that issue. And again, Suarez not close enough to make a move. He closed up half a second gap down that front stretch with the DRS, but not close enough to make a move. Suarez looking real hard to try and... Oh, and he's got a big wiggle, as you see there in the middle of the corner. I saw the wheels turn left. Some counter steering going on. And Fosbury is telling me that it looks like it would probably be Joe Hollis's internet connection. And Fosbury would know, since he's the one that's racing with him. And Suarez had a big moment in the middle of that sweeping right-hander, turn 3. Was able to hang on to it. Now, luckily, ghosting and damage appears to be off for the preseason testing. Now, if this was an actual points-paying race in the middle of the season, internet connection issues can be very dangerous for a lot of the drivers around them, as ghosting is going to be off and full damage would be on. So that could have ended in tears during an actual race. And here we go, all the way to the inside. Morris is going to take the defensive line. He's going to try and make Suarez go the long way around. And again, he's going to have to jump the curbs. He hangs tough, and there's a big movement, and they make contact. Morris goes into the wall, and around he goes. And that's a bad move by Suarez. He went over the curbs. He tried to hang tough, and he lost control of the car. So that is going to be unfortunate for him. An incredible battle that they had going on. That is really unfortunate. I don't know if penalties are going to be an issue in preseason testing, but I can tell you for a fact, if that was reviewed during the actual Spanish Grand Prix, chances are Suarez would be getting a penalty. He cut the corner, went over the curbs, tried to maintain his pace, lost the car, and made contact with Morris. Morris definitely going to be upset about that. That drops him back to third. Harry Cooper now is going to be running in second spot. Meanwhile, we've got a next closest battle on track is this between Jared Fosbury and Adrian Storm. 5 laps to go in what has been a very entertaining Spanish Grand Prix preseason test here for IRL F2. That's really 2 incredible preseason tests that we've had. And look at this. Fosbury's going to dive into the pits and call it a day. Well, not call it a day, but he's going to dive into the pits. That's going to drop him quite a few positions. So that's going to mix up things a little bit. There goes Kevin Harrison. Next on the hit list would be Alexander Bastos. And Bastos is going to come across and pick up the 7th spot. Does any of that sound familiar? So Bastos comes by, and that's going to drop Fosbury back into the 8th position. And that is a 3-second time penalty for Fosbury as well. So what an eventful race. 4 laps remaining. Paco Suarez is currently your controversial leader. Harry Cooper is 2.6 seconds off the pace here. That is going to be putting him in second. Jamie Morris in third, and he's all of a sudden under pressure from Joe Hollis in the Toro Rosso for 4th. So Morris, who was fighting for the lead of this race, round for round, blow for blow with Paco Suarez, now finds himself trying to hold back a hard-charging Joe Hollis in the closing stages of this race, and a yellow flag in Sector 3 again. And while these two are battling it out for the 3rd spot, Adrian Storm is starting to close the gap. And here we go, Hollis to the inside. And Jamie Griffiths has finally left the session. His car has been DNF for quite some time. Finally decides to leave the session. May have been spectating. So Morris taking that Harry Cooper line coming out of there, that very wide exit out of that corner, and Hollis. And we heard Fosbury put in the live chat a few minutes ago that Hollis' internet connection, and he's the one that's lagging. He's the one that's got the issues. And he is all over the gearbox of Morris. Morris runs very wide at the top of the hill. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Hollis, he finished 4th here last year at this race in F2. The battle last year for the lead, I mean, the top 4 cars were really nose to tail most of the race. Even after the pit sequence, there wasn't much separation between the top 4 cars. It was an incredible race. Marcel Holler started on pole, ended up finishing 5th that round. Adrian Storm currently running in 5th. Storm finished 6th in the race last year. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap now. It doesn't look like Hollis is going to be close enough to make a move. He does have that DRS. Morris able to hang tough. Oh, and Morris, look at this. Hollis runs very wide coming to the top of the hill. And he has lost a lot of time there. And look at this Adrian Storm now. And Bastos, I just want to pick this up real quick. Bastos and Jared Fosbury battling it out very hard. This is for the 7th position. And Fosbury is going to be on the soft tires. So is Bastos, actually. So those two are going to be battling for the 7th spot. There's a part of me that is rooting on Alexander Bastos to finish in 7th again. I don't want him to make me a liar. And now we've got a 3-way battle for the 3rd position. This is Jamie Morris, followed by Harry Cooper, followed by... I'm sorry, that is not Harry Cooper. Harry Cooper is currently running second. This is Jamie Morris, followed by Joe Hollis, followed by Adrian Storm. Hollis to the outside with the DRS advantage. Morris is going to try and take away the defensive line. Oh, and he runs by. There's a crossover move. Morris able to defend and keep the position. Unbelievable driving by Jamie Morris. Runs very wide at the top of turn 3, though. That's going to give up some time. Hollis picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to cost him at the end of the race. And James Hallworth, it looks like next is clone Jared Fosbury, has made another pit stop. Possibly to switch over to another set of softs, see if he can run the fastest lap of the race. 2 laps remaining. Meanwhile, Morris is trying to hold up a hard-charging Joe Hollis for the 3rd spot. A very reluctant 3rd spot for Morris. And as we start this last lap, Harry Cooper under a second to Paco Suarez. Now, if Suarez wins this race, obviously it won't be without controversy, as he made contact with Jamie Morris battling for the lead. But the real battle on track right now is these 3 guys here, Morris, Hollis, and Adrian Storm. Morris runs a little wide coming out of that corner. Hollis has been struggling behind the Ferraris. He's going to run wide again. He gets a little bit of aero wash. Adrian Storm picks up a 3-second time penalty. So it'll be interesting to see how these penalties stack up at the end of this race. Morris runs a very wide look at Suarez, and Suarez picks up another 3-second time penalty. Oh, and here we go. Morris loses out on that. That was a 2-for-1 deal the wrong way. He lost 2 positions in one corner. He's all over the gearbox, and he's going to push. Oh, and they both make contact, and they're both into the wall. Morris's race has fallen apart. Made contact with Adrian Storm. Very dangerous re-entering the track. And Harry Cooper is going to pick up the win over Paco Suarez because of the time penalties. Joe Hollis is going to be coming home in 3rd with his incredible internet connection. Adrian Storm, who was a part of that last lap melee at the top of the hill from Morris, is going to pick up 4th position. Kevin Harrison, who he also had contact earlier in the race while battling for the lead, he'll come home 5th. Alexander Bastos does come home 6th. But can I just say that's also on the account of Jamie Morris having struggled there at the last little bit of this race, made contact with Adrian Storm, so he'll come across the line at 7th. James Hallworth is going to come across the line in 8th. Jared Fosbury, who pitted and tried to run fastest lap, he'll come across the line in 9th. Ivan Brito, and you see one of the Ferraris there, that's probably Chipsman Crunchy doing donuts, as Ivan Brito will come across the line in the 10th spot. And Suarez and Morris are having a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of radio chatter going on. Suarez trying to apologize, but Morris was not having it, looks like. And here comes Chipsman Country to round out your top 11 drivers. Adrian Storm struggled with tire wear throughout the course of this race. Really entertaining, really fun to watch. F2 preseason test here for IRL International Racing League. This was preseason test 2 here at Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. So, nice pickup win for Harry Cooper. So, Team Toro Rosso looking very strong. So last week it was Team Haas that looked really strong as they finished 1st and 4th. This week it's 1st and 3rd for Toro Rosso as they're going to look really strong. Jamie Morris, very weird outing for him today. struggled in qualifying. Not sure if it was just a setup or what the deal was, but here's your official finishing order. Harry Cooper, Paco Suarez, Joe Hollis, Adrian Storm, Kevin Harrison, Alexander Bastos, Jamie Morse, James Hallworth, Jared Fosbury, Ivan Brito, Chipsman Crunchy, and Jamie Griffith is your only DNF of the day. Top 12 drivers. Now, guys, next week is going to be opening day weekend for IRL. So try to keep up with me here for a minute. KAMIKAZE-FOX, that's me. 10 o'clock on Sunday, or 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, I will be commentating the SRL opening season race. That is going to be the Sandro Racing League, and while there is a lot of SRL leagues, there's only one Sandro Racing League. That's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Then you guys can switch over to pick up the F1 race at 1 o'clock that afternoon on the IRL YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to that. I won't be commentating that, but I will be watching. And then at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, IRL is going to be having their preseason test for the Gran Turismo Sport GR3 League as they get ready to kick off their third season of racing. It'll be preseason test at Dragon Trail Seaside. I'll be participating in that. Later that night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check me out as I commentate for the inaugural season of GRL, that is the Garage Racing League, as they kick off their F1 season in Australia, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then once again, you can check us out here for F2 on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be commentating that race. F3 will be going on at the same time. We had a lot of driver signups this year, so F1, F2, F3 for IRL, plus the Gran Turismo Sport preseason test, plus GRL is going to be kicking off their season, plus SRL is going to be kicking off their season. So a lot of action next week. Try to keep up with it all. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment to IRL. Check us out online, International Racing League-IRL.com. You can also check us out on Twitter. It's F1_IRL. So be sure to keep up with that for all news and notes heading into this weekend's opening season. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to my YouTube channel. You can check me out. I always live stream my races for Gran Turismo Sport, so I'll live stream the preseason test as well. Going to be rocking the Mercedes this year, so it'll be a little bit different. I've run the Jag in the past. I've run the Porsche 911 this year. I'm trying to be a little bit more competitive. We're going to run the Mercedes AMG GT3 car. A couple of different regulations this year heading into Season 3 for Group 3, so it'll be pretty interesting to watch. What an amazing race. I really look forward to this F2 group. Seems very competitive with some of these drivers. So, guys, be sure to check everything out next weekend and keep up with us on Twitter and check us out online. This has been IRL, International Racing League. This has been F2 on F1 2019. Guys, we will see you opening day weekend at the next round.